often reflected in the simplest things, like a hearty, all-natural breakfast on a big day, even if it's a weekday. That's why at Jones Dairy Farm our fully cooked, heat-and-eat sausages are made with honest-to-goodness ingredients. No MSG, nitrates, or preservatives. Our tradition for quality in each and every one of our products is one we can all cherish together. I'm Philip Jones. Join in our family tradition of great taste.
Good morning, America. Breaking overnight, state of emergency. 43 people killed in storms across the country.
This is the worst I think anybody's seen it.
Deadly storms and flash floods pounding the heartland, sweeping away cars as snow, freezing rain, and ice pound the Midwest.
Tornado on the ground.
Devastating tornadoes ripping through Arkansas, tearing apart Texas, 180-mile-per-hour winds plowing through hundreds of homes, causing a travel nightmare, the very latest as severe weather heads east.
Also this morning, superstar quarterback Peyton Manning firing back, tackling reports about performance-enhancing drugs.
It's completely fabricated, complete trash, garbage.
The startling allegations shaking up the NFL, linking him to human growth hormone after he suffered a nearly career-ending injury. Now the person behind it taking back his story. Who's telling the truth?
Wipe out the holiday's hottest gift, leading to hospital trips, epic hoverboard fails, falls, and fires, all caught on camera. Even professional athletes taking a tumble. We'll tell you how you can ride it, maybe without the risk.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
And good morning, America. We hope everyone had a fantastic holiday weekend. Look who we have for World News Tonight anchor David Muir. No hoverboard injuries?
Yeah, you see that guy who wiped out in Times Square?
Yeah.
That was me on the way in this morning. So I can't wait for these tips you've got.
Well, we're so happy to have you here, David. We want to get right to that severe weather that has been battering the middle of the country. You're looking live at Dallas, Texas, where tornadoes left at least 11 dead there.
And Amy, in Missouri this morning, a state of emergency in effect. Heavy rains leading to dangerous flash flooding. This drone video showing once small creeks now spilling over their banks, leaving everything there underwater. More than 36 weather-related deaths since the holiday travel season began just before Christmas. 11 states now under a winter storm warning and 4 states under a tornado threat this morning.
Yeah, and this huge system is stretching from New Mexico and Texas up to Ohio, is now moving east. Our extreme weather team covering every angle for us. Let's get right to ABC's Rob Marciano, who is in St. Louis for us this morning. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Amy. It has been raining here all weekend long, anywhere from 5 to 10 inches of rain falling, and we've got another 1 to 3 coming. So a flash flood warning now in effect for the St. Louis area, and the rivers and creeks like the Missouri behind me continue to fill up and to what is now becoming a record year for rainfall.
Overnight, a state of emergency in the heartland as severe weather pounds the region. Historically heavy rains producing flash floods, and now at least 15 people are dead after drowning in floodwaters. In Tennessee, the state's namesake river surging to the highest the river has been in more than 10 years.
This is probably the worst flooding that I've ever witnessed. It's very devastating.
A state of emergency declared in Missouri on Sunday after rampant floodwaters engulfed homes.
Oh my gosh!
Swept away RVs and shut down major highways.
This is the worst I think anybody's seen it.
Overnight, St. Louis sandbaggers preparing for even more flooding expected in the coming days.
Water's just everywhere.
Our neighbors across the lake are totally underwater, so we're out here doing the right thing.
Across the Midwest, tiny neighborhood creeks morphing into dangerous bodies of water.
Normally this is a little bitty creek about 12 feet wide. Right now it's probably every bit of 200 feet wide.
In Illinois, this flooded creek claiming the lives of 3 adults and 2 children after their car was swept away.
It makes us all pretty sick to our stomachs, and it's a sad, sad thing. We wish it couldn't have happened, especially on a holiday weekend.
And if the situation isn't bad enough, the temperatures are hovering right around 40 degrees. So it is a cold, miserable rain, and Missouri is not alone. Take a look at this. 14 states now under a flash flood watch as the warm sector, quote unquote, of this system pushes off towards the north and east. We obviously have a severe weather component as well. Look at this. We've got snow on the backside of this. Tornado watch out now for New Orleans and parts of Mississippi. And that severe weather threat is going to move off to the east as we go on throughout today. So a huge multifaceted storm, David, that is just getting underway now across the nation's heartland.
All right, Rob Marciano watching it all, and we're thinking about all these families here this morning. Rob, thanks. We're going to turn to the deadly tornadoes now tearing through Texas At least 11 people killed in the Dallas area this weekend. Hundreds of homes and buildings, look at that, just simply destroyed. ABC's Matt Gutman is on the scene this morning with much more for us. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, David. I want to give you a sense of the devastation here. This goes on house after house over a 40-mile stretch here in North Texas, mixing things like Christmas stockings and car parts. And we're not talking about homes that were flimsily built, but places made out of brick and mortar.
Tornado on the ground.
Overnight, raging tornadoes blasting through Arkansas.
We better go. We better go.
This one caught bulldozing a house and spewing out debris.
Oh, my God.
This after a string of tornadoes scarred a 40-mile swath of Texas this weekend. Police saying at least 11 were killed here in Texas.
Just total disbelief. Everything on the back side of my house was on the front side of my house.
From the air, you can see the path the storm gouged. A football field-wide lane reduced to splinters. With the tornado bearing down, these people ducked into a freezer at Chili's. The tornado Saturday night blowing up transformers.
That's it! That's a tornado!
In the pitch black, the lightning illuminating the monster EF4 tornado.
Gosh, it's big!
When it descended on Interstate 30, some motorists had nowhere to hide. 8 people were killed there.
It's crossing the highway right there.
In daylight, we drove through those devastated neighborhoods.
The scope of the destruction in these neighborhoods is absolutely astounding.
That tornado so powerful, it nearly toppled Rowlett's water tower. 400 homes damaged there.
As far as the roof, all this is gone.
Norma Jimenez was saved when she and 5 family members crowded in their bathroom.
Just very grateful that we're alive.
I spoke to the police chief of Rowlett overnight. He said no one's even talking about the cleanup right now. All they're focusing on is clearing these mounds of debris and hazards from the roadway so people can come back and get their belongings. He said it could be months, maybe even years before they can rebuild these communities. Amy?
Well, the scope of it. All right, Matt, thank you so much. And this system bringing heavy winds and rain for some, but snow for others. Even palm trees in El Paso, Texas, coated in snow. And the flurries and ice are now hitting Oklahoma, where ABC's Clayton Sandell is now. Good morning to you, Clayton.
Hey, good morning, Amy. You can see the problem here in Oklahoma. Power lines have been snapped in half overnight thanks to those high winds that have been blasting through this area, and also this heavy ice that you can see has coated the power lines here. In fact, about 60,000 customers are without power this morning, and you can see what it's done to the tree branches in this area. Thick ice coating everything. But what's really going to make the commute here dangerous this morning is a thick layer of ice on the roads and highways. And I want to show you here just how thick it is. It's about an inch here where we're at, which means this entire region has basically been turned into one giant ice rink. Amy?
Clayton, thank you so much, and we'll hope that people stay off those roads today, this holiday week.
Incredible how thick that ice is. All right, we're going to turn to the severe weather causing headaches for travelers, as he alluded to right there, trying to get home now after the holidays. Thousands of flight delays, hundreds of cancellations. ABC's Lindsay Janis live this morning at New York's LaGuardia Airport with much more. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, David. The weather having a big impact on air travel. Already this morning, more than 690 flights canceled across the country. Now that comes on top of 1,700 cancellations and 6,000 delays on Sunday, one of the busiest travel days of the holiday season. The worst hit airports so far this morning, Chicago, O'Hare, also Midway, and Dallas is still bad after having a third of its flights affected on Sunday. The coast getting hit as well. LA and San Francisco had a rough day Sunday, as did the hubs. Here in the Northeast, millions of travelers now hoping today will be much smoother. David and Amy?
All right, Lindsay, thanks so much. And David, we know you'll have so much more on this developing weather and all of the travel impact tonight on World News.
A little later tonight. All right, Amy, we'll move on to the other news this Monday morning and to Chicago now. Another deadly police shooting in a city already on edge. 2 people killed, including a grandmother. Police now saying her death was an accident, and ABC's Alex Perez is in Chicago.
This morning, the families of Betty Jones and college student Quintonio LeGrier demanding justice and answers from the Chicago Police Department.
Why you got to shoot first and ask questions later?
Jones and LeGrier killed Saturday after police were called to this two-story home for a domestic disturbance.
We got 2 people shot, but were the shots fired by police, just to confirm?
Yes, they were.
LeGrier, on the top floor, was reportedly threatening his father with a bat. Loved ones say 55-year-old Jones, who lives on the ground floor, was opening the door for police when she was caught in a spray of police bullets.
Upon their arrival, they were confronted by a combative individual.
Police saying Jones was accidentally killed and condolences.
She should not have to come outside, open the door, and be shot down by a police officer.
His mother says her 19-year-old son, who studied engineering, had mental health issues but dreamed of a brighter future.
Mr. Honorable worked hard. He cared about people.
Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel had been under pressure to make sweeping changes in an increasingly tense Chicago since the release of the Laquan McDonald video last month.
The first step in that journey is my step, and I'm sorry.
He is calling for a review of how officers are trained to handle mental health cases.
And the officers involved are off the streets and on desk duty. The Independent Police Review Board investigates the shooting. Amy?
All right, Alex Perez. Thank you. And now to the race for president. Your voice, your vote. And Donald Trump taking aim not at one of his Republican rivals, but at Bill and Hillary Clinton. The Republican frontrunner accusing the former president of sexism. ABC's Mary Bruce has more now from Washington. Good morning, Mary.
Hi, good morning, Amy. Well, after a few quiet days, the campaign trail is now roaring back into full swing this morning. And even though those first primaries are still 5 weeks on his latest mudslinging, it seems that Donald Trump is already looking ahead to Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump a ceasefire with a flurry of tweets and this new attack on Hillary Clinton.
She's playing that woman's card left and right, and women are more upset about it than anybody else, including men.
Trump intensifying his war of words with the Democratic frontrunner, targeting her husband's history of alleged sexual misconduct and infidelity, tweeting that she is letting her husband out to campaign, but he's demonstrated a penchant for sexism. So inappropriate.
I think that Donald Trump or any candidate on the other side of the aisle would raise Bill Clinton as somehow a negative to their peril.
But Trump told ABC's This Week he's being backed by a movement.
People are angry. They are angry. I'm not tapping into the anger, and some people have said I'm doing that, and certainly I'm not doing it intentionally.
Trump also taking aim at the Republican National Committee, blasting the Virginia State Party over its Republican voters pledged that they are in fact Republican. A move he says could scare off key independent and first-time voters. Trump tweeting, "Straighten out the Republican Party of Virginia before it is too late. Stupid RNC." The latest tweets reflect Trump's distrust of the GOP leadership and raise a big concern for the party. The frontrunner could launch an independent run, but Trump has said he will be loyal as long as he's fairly. Amy?
All right, Mary Bruce, thank you. Now on this with ABC News political analyst Matthew Dowd, who is in Austin, Texas. Good morning to you, Matthew.
Good morning, Amy.
Now, obviously, going after Hillary and Bill works for Donald Trump leading into the primaries. But is this a strategy that will go on that?
Well, as you say, Amy, it works because the one person most hated by Republicans is Hillary Clinton. So anything he does in vis-a-vis is helpful to him. But to me, it's a little bit like a scrambling quarterback who might have short-term success. But in the end, their knees may go out, and Donald Trump is going to face some real problems if he wins the GOP nomination in the general election because of all this.
And Matt, this goes both ways, though. Obviously, Clinton going after Trump. Is there any downside for her doing that?
I think he has a converse downside. So, yes, it helps her to go after Donald Trump because he is the most hated political figure among Democrats. And so it helps her there in the primaries. Just like Donald Trump, I think she creates a general election where independent voters don't like to back and forth. So each of them, it helps them in the primary, but hurts them overall in the general election.
Trump has been the dominant figure in the Republican race for 2015. Looking forward to 2016, who do you think could change that?
Well, you're right, Amy. He has been the dominant figure. He's led ever since he got in this race. I think the only person that really can bring Donald Trump down is Donald Trump. It has to be self-inflicted wounds. And up until this point, he seems to have shot him 5 or 6 different times, but he doesn't seem to slow them down. The only other thing is, if he is second in the Iowa caucus, which he do, to Ted Cruz, who has a base of supporters, social conservative. We don't know what happens if he loses for the first time. Something that we have not seen Donald Trump face.
Thank you so much. One thing we do know for sure.